Hi, everybody. Welcome to our third session of BALIKBAYAN Returning Home. We are joined by these awesome folks. This was set up through Gauntlet Hangouts. I will include links in the description below. And BALIKBAYAN Returning Home is a belonging outside belonging game, which focuses on a cyberpunk dystopic future where our elementals, our supernatural, machine magic beings of Filipino legend and folklore are on the run from the Corp, trying to create their revolution to bring about the rebirth of magic. So we're going to start with introductions first before we get into what happened in the previous sessions. So I'll go ahead and start. My name is Jamie, they, them pronouns. I am the facilitator for this session, though this game can be played without one. And I think you'll see how the players also have a lot of agency. They also have a lot of creative power in the game. And I am also the person who is working on BALIKBAYAN, which is in beta. And yeah, so let's start with, I can sense Bethany's like, don't start with me. So I think we'll start with Puckett. So Puckett, tell us a bit about your character. Oh, and introduce yourself as well. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I was going to start off with that anyway. Sure. Hi, I'm Puckett. Bear with me. I'm a little froggy at the moment. I am playing Eduardo Abayan, who is the saint. And in the last episode, he faced down someone he knew from his previous life who had become something of a monster. And by listening to the smallest voice of the littlest god in the area, he was able to, well, do something less awful than he'd been thinking about, and something that maybe helped some people out. And now he's kind of recovering and traumatized because he understands how much damage he has done and how much he has to atone for, which is why the little god of deaths, Hutang, is hanging around with Eduardo for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. And next, let's hear from Leandro.
Hi, name's Leandro, use he and pronouns. I'm playing Marisol, he uses she, her. She's a Santelmo, who's kind of like a bridge between the underworld and between the human world and the underworld. Sorry, excuse me. Talks to ghosts and whatnot, which makes her really sad, which is, an incredible stretch for me. Yeah, the last session, part of the miracle that Eduardo pulled off was like everyone had like a piece of bad memory kind of like erased from them, so everyone was like calm and was like felt happy and peaceful. Yeah, that didn't happen to Marisol. Instead what happened was it dredged up a memory of her that she didn't know she had, because part of her deal is that she carries a lot of stories within her, a lot of ghost tales, so her sense of self is a bit foggy. But it dredged up an argument, a barely perceptible argument between her and this person who she thinks is her ex-lover, and it's kind of made her moody and down, made her retreat in the background. And then that ex-lover showed up, who's now an Aswang. Apparently, she also had heartbreak in the past, but she doesn't know why. They didn't get to talk because Marisol was like, she's that person, but she doesn't know me. Also, she's really intimidating. She's a proper goth. Oh God. Her name is Celeste. And so Marisol had like a emotional, heartfelt, tense, sad conversation with Eduardo, and that led to Eduardo tried to give her some sound advice, and Marisol was like, no, feck off. I'm not gonna follow it. And she ran off into the underworld.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong in the underworld? So, and then let's switch over to our Tikbalang, who's being played by Bethany.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I am playing Ava or Ava, or however it's pronounced today, who is the Tikbalang, who is a kind of a cyberpunk druid. Who turns into animals that they've actually never seen in real life. So they don't necessarily know what size those animals are supposed to be, but they know what they look like. They've seen holograms, and they have the memory of like what they looked like. So, and let's see. They went to they spent last session talking to the heart of the city, or well, listening to the heart of the city, which was not a particularly pleasant experience, but it's a thing that they can do, so they kind of have to sometimes. And learned that there are like 36 other elementals hunting for us. Their friend Sylvia, who like saved us from the mainframe in the first place, is one of them now, and yeah, they need to get to the heart of the city, and think that maybe Layla, Eduardo's crust punk sex worker friend, might have information on that.
I love those words together, punk rock sex worker friends. So yeah, and just to so the last time Diana joined us, there was a creepy person, Caesar, who was about to attack and be attacked by our saint, by Eduardo. And so what ended up happening was, as Puckett mentioned, they ended up doing something a bit more gentle to free the souls that this person had been feeding off of. But in so doing, the souls found new homes in the robots around in the area of varying sizes. So what we established was that our Duwende was probably taking care of those souls of these robots that had freshly awakened, also dealing with this big robot, this huge one that that Caesar was trying to hack into and take control of. But now, because Reina spent the whole session dealing with that, we probably don't have to rehack into the robot. But is there anything you want to add for Reina that that she might have been doing, or do you want to sort of just like feel out things first?
I think beyond that, just keeping surveillance over while everyone was gone and everything, and like, yay, they're happy with all these new sentient robots, but at the same time, it's like, okay, a lot more to deal with, kind of thing.
Yeah. I was looking. Let's see. You do have so this is just a suggestion. No need to go into it, but you do have a token. It's quite possible that you could spend it on a strong move, like make what you hope for more real. You could say that the robots could help you like build that school. Like they could be significant in like maybe pulling all the scrap together, because just to reestablish, we're in a refuge that's sort of like this abandoned area full of machines from the war and so on and so forth. So that's a possibility, but no need to get into it now, right? So but basically, when you spend a token, especially when the move is what you make, what you hope for, make it more real, it can really cover a lot of ground, right? So a token is really powerful narrative-wise in the system.
Yeah, I think I'll hold on to my token for right now. I think.
Yeah, cool. No worries. So we started with. I feel like it would be a good idea to see what happened to Marisol in the afterlife in Sulad. But is there any other scene we want to start with first, maybe? Or do we want to touch base with?
I kind of want to see Reina first.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Sure. Okay, so Diana, what would you like to feel out for your character for this scene?
I have no idea. I was hoping not to go first, honestly, so I can get back into
Yeah.
this.
No worries.
Yeah. Because I
we can always
honestly
come
have
back
no
to
idea.
Yeah. That's fine. We can like ease you back in. No worries. But that's definitely on my list to check in on Reina. But yeah, we can check in on Marisol. We can also check in on our sex worker contact. Let's see. I'm double checking her name, Layla, right? Our bubbly sex worker, who basically runs what amounts to a food.bombs chapter, is what Puckett wrote in the notes. So what would we like to check out first? And I'm going to pull up the city just so that we have our map that we can refer to, quotation mark map. Yeah, so we have our secret gardens. We have these mazes. There's also the sentient smog that's been sort of hanging around.
Oh yeah, it's there's a lot of it surrounding the heart of the city. I remembered that.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. Like not ominous at all. No, and there's still Manong, our gardener, ghost person, farmer, ghost person, hanging out. So yeah, if no one has any ideas, I think I'd like to jump into what's going on. I think like either with anything would be valid, but I feel like maybe with Marisol just to see what's happening.
That was kind of a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Okay, so in our character keeper for the playbook of the Santelmo, in the tips it says co-create with your GM the rules of the dead. So what I want to ask is, what does Marisol see when the portal opens up and they enter Sulad, the underworld? I'll be here to like co-create with you, so don't feel pressured. But what do you think they would see, or she sees?
Yeah, I think if I vaguely remember what I said last week, it's not so much like a portal opens, but it's like Marisol like starts phasing in and
right.
out. It's like the plane of the dead is kind of like superimposed on the living, so it's not like, you know, it's not like you take a train ride and you go down to Intramuros or something like that, but instead no, it's like changing a filter, you know. It's like looking at the world through a Snapchat filter, and you filter and like, oh, you're in a live world, oh, suddenly you're in the dead world. So that's what it looks like to Marisol, and I think that's kind of what it looks like to Eduardo as well. It's like Marisol doesn't like turn around and run away. Instead, what happens, like when she stood up, started panicking, and from Eduardo's perspective, it's like his image of her is just like flickering between like different kinds of images, because she is like her true form starts kind of like leaking out as the program is running in her head to access those ghost protocols, and it does look like her form is like flickering between so many different forms and it's like frames in a film. So it's like there's no cut, so it's when they Marisol is just getting replaced by like 5 different people all standing in the same spot all at once, and then another 5 and then another 5. So it's like a confluence until like, and from Marisol's point of view, it is like it feels like she is kind of like cycling through different filters until she's accessing the one that barely looks like this place. It is kind of like diving through a black and white portal, so to speak. Everything around her is just kind of like just fading as the flickering gets faster and faster, and yeah, I think once it stops, it's okay. Now here's the part where I didn't think ahead.
Well, I can also jump in and help a bit, because so thanks for the reminder. You activated your spirit fire, which means, like you said, you're phasing in and out, but it also says the GM may describe what horrors may be triggered if you are discovered. Because I feel like what's happening is the machine magic is bleeding out of you, and it's sort of drawing the attention of all of these hollow ghosts that are like on the fringes of things, and you can feel them scratching at the sides of things, see them flickering in and out. It's kind of like that weeping angel situation, like when you look, whoa, sorry, that was my partner, bless you. Anyway, so they're like, every time you look away, they like move a little bit closer. They just sort of like phase in and out, reaching towards Marisol as if she is a flame and they are the moths.
Yeah, so I think she notices, yeah, the ghost kind of like coming in, but then she suddenly flicks to the underworld, and you know, sea imagery is always good for for an underworld. So I think her boots are immediately like wet, and she looks around, and it's still the kind of dimensions of the building. She's still in like, yeah, the bombed out kind of like building, but the floor is just like covered in seawater, and the the walls feel like the walls aren't really there because you can see around her, and there's just like this beautiful moonlit night sky. um and it's almost like the walls have become like transparent. You can see like the black outlines of where the edges are, and but the her feet are wet. It's ice cold water, and you can see like the water is just like, and you can see around, and like the water is like fully opaque, like it's like this dark black sort of water, but it's like it feels like, it looks like it's hanging off the air because the walls and the floor are like transparent. So if we pan out the camera, you can see like there's just this, like, for some reason all the floors are like covered in water, standing in mid-air because of where they are in this building. um I hope that made sense. I'm trying to.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's one of those cool moments when you play a video game and everything doesn't fully load properly and it looks surreal.
Yikes.
Like that's sort of what I'm picking up when you said the water's floating,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So my question for you is, who are the guardians of Sulad who are here to take stock of who enters?
Ooh. That's a big question.
We can deflect it to someone else if you like, also.
Yeah, if anyone has an idea, I don't know because I know this is kind of still technically my domain because it's the dead. Like, if anyone has an idea, I think of something. Definitely, I kind of want them to feel a bit like mechanical. Maybe in the past they didn't look mechanical, but because we've learned to reaccess magic through cybernetic means, they've become a bit more artificial than they used to be.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they could be like a copy of a copy of a copy, right? So there's a sort of simulacrum quality to them. So when you...
Could it be similar to, I don't know if you guys ever played the game Soma, with the spirits, they, what's the word I'm looking for? Possess objects. So, but they don't know they're possessed objects. So like a wetsuit is talking to you, but they think they're the human in the wetsuit kind of thing. Which is a very creepy thing in Soma. And so maybe like different technologies representing, and they don't realize that.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah. And imagining, yeah, they're like, oh, I like the wetsuit thing. Or maybe they're like, yeah, a mishmash of like different objects. So like, yeah, there's a wetsuit, but its head is like a floodlight. Just yeah. I think they're okay. Yeah, I like this, walking wetsuits with floodlight heads. And I think Marisol sees them in like the distance because their lights are cutting through like the. Well, it's a fine moonlit night, but they stand out, and I think the maze of lights and sound kind of like drops out in Sulad. It's really quiet here. There's just the constant sounds of waves, even though there's no beach to be around. Everything's just wet. But there's always like the sounds of, gentle sounds of like shores, waves crashing into shores. And yeah, there's in the distance you see like, yeah, these people in their you see like these guardians. You can tell they're different from humans because here in this world, humans are like the hollow ghosts. They're like they're made of light and sound, but only the guardians of Sulad are corporeal here, but they're corporeal in ways that like only makes sense to humans, like the wetsuits with with the floodlight heads, and there are some who are just they're just some walking business suits, and maybe the coat hanger is hanging out is popping out of the neck, then there's not really a head, so it's just like a walking suit with held up by coat hangers. It's a weird mishmash.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as you stand there, because I imagine we're having like a sad girl moment by the ocean. As this is happening, there's a boat that flickers into existence by the shore. It looks like a modern boat for a moment, then it flickers and it looks like an ancient prayer boat from the Philippines, and it flickers again and it looks like an older boat even, and it flickers back and forth until there are just patches moving through it. And at first you see an oar flicker in, and then a hand, and the hand that's attached to the arm, until there is a sort of like robed figure that is standing there, their eyes like floodlights moving to cover you. And they say, Santelmo, who do you guide here to their demise? Who shall we drag to the depths of the underworld?
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't allowed to just visit.
And they push the hood back, and you can see their hair like it's wet and stringy, and their skin is damp. And they say, didn't we agree that these sad girl visits couldn't continue, and you had a job to do?
Well, one has to stop being a sad girl, and turns out that's really hard.
Is it, even when your heart is there waiting for you?
Is
you
it?
have a second chance.
Well, the problem with the second chance is that I know that if I hadn't fucked up, I wouldn't need a second chance. So by virtue of there being a second chance, there's another chance I could just fuck it up, and like you know, it's just. Yeah.
Do you think you're the only person who is not beyond regret?
Of course not. I'm not that arrogant.
Think about all the stories inside you that you carry, Marisol, and they step closer to you. This person who you've known for a long time, but has never bothered to have a name that they could keep. And they walk closer and they say, I feel that if you looked at all these stories inside you, you'd know what to do about the regret that pains you.
Well, I think Marisol like just she's kind of like she's kind of like awkwardly like not wanting to meet this person's gaze, because it's hard to tell where even to look, and it's just like I don't know why it is, but why is it I only seem to get sad stories? Surely there are people who died happy.
They exist, but I find with Santelmos, they always attract the stories that they resonate with. So a sad girl only gets sad stories.
Then how is someone supposed to come to the conclusion to not be sad if all you get is sad songs, sad stories?
Well, I wouldn't admit to eavesdropping, but I think your friend was trying to get you to believe in something. And at this moment, we're going to like cut a little bit to what's happening to our saint, who, and Eduardo can hear it, the scratching noise of the hollow ghost just on the periphery of things. and they're all drawn to the energy that Marisol inadvertently released when they shifted realities towards Sulad. And you can feel them trying to scratch in, trying to get through, trying to find Marisol. And our little god of debt Utang um, looks up at you and says, "We can't leave her alone."
I wasn't planning on it, but I don't know how to get to where she is.
And then they sort of like give you this little shrug. Friends can help.
Hmm.
We are not alone, right?
Ava? Where's Ava?
I think like this is about when Ava comes back. Well, comes back as a mouse because, like, you know, they were trying to travel through the giant robot's fingers, and
How big is this mouse?
I mean, it is. It's small in the sense that it's like smaller than a person, but it's maybe like a raccoon-sized mouse.
I remembered that capybaras are actually the largest rodent in the world, so that just came to mind. Anyway, go on. So a raccoon
That's an
size.
unusual size. Also, they get along with everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're like the Disney princesses of the animal world. Anyway, go on.
Well, hello, little one.
And I think it takes a little longer than usual to change back. And yeah, and then Ava like turns into, well, human form. Not necessarily a human, I almost said, but that's not true. And kind of stands there and like shaking their head a little. Eduardo, how long? You look better than when I left you?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, working miracles takes a lot out of us, but I need a favor. Marisol went into the underworld, and there are ghosts at the periphery of our apprehension that appear to want to feed, for lack of a better way to put it.
That's not all.
So it occurred to me that there are animal forms that exist in multiple states. Almost like they're quantum critters or something along those lines, where they can be both in the world we perceive and another world simultaneously. Like cats.
You want me to go into the underworld? Okay. I've never been to the underworld.
I want you to take me with you.
Okay.
And we'll go see if we can help Marisol.
Okay.
Because I mean, I don't want you stranded there by yourself either. I mean, at least if it goes sideways, we'll both be there.
I'm not sure that's better, but there'll be three of us.
Company.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Did I say want to ask for sagely advice before they go, in case they want to activate the lure of the Tikbalang or protection?
Oh, that is a good question. And well, I obviously want protection.
Okay.
And I would love some sagely advice.
Don't know if I have any sagely advice, but
Ooh, we can make some up that's suddenly good advice. Maybe this is not the first time Ava has been dragged to the underworld, maybe.
Cats, you say?
Cats.
All cats or just particular kind?
Well,
if you want protection,
you,
there's
you
a
would know
thing
more about this than I would.
I've never tried this form before, but I came across it in that treasure trove of information you hooked me up with,
You
and I
know,
turned into a tiger.
Nice, nice.
I was going to
What does
say,
a tiger look like? Go on.
maybe one of the little gods in the area would know.
Oh.
If somebody asked me to call upon them for more information.
Okay, so what are the little gods whispering of? Is what you're
Yeah,
asking?
how do we get there?
Well,
uh-huh.
Yeah, so my lure is that when somebody asks me to call upon a little god, they get a token.
Yeah, that makes sense. So okay, so I'm a cat, type of cat. This seems like that could be better protection. Do any of your friends here know how to get there?
And what little gods are in the area?
Let's see. But first, I'll let's make sure that Ava gets their token for activating the lure. And so what you hear is there is the god. I feel like I want it to be a god of like travel, a god of transition. There is a god that presides over the in-between of things. Right before you come up with a thought, or that time between a thought and an action taken, or that moment between life and death, there is a god, a little god that presides over this small moment. And in this small moment, there is a lot of power that is ignored. And you see the god as it flickers into existence, knowing that it is drawn towards you, knowing that it is sought out. You can see it. It's sort of like it's a large little god. It has its arms wrapped around the huge robot that Reina has been reprogramming. And it's sort of like stroking the robot, because the robot is perpetually in between a state, between being reprogrammed, being alive again, between dying, between waking up again. And this god looks like they're just completely gray. Like everything about them is gray, as if they were just penciled into reality, with long eyelashes, long shifting hair, and there's no real gender about them. And they open their eyes very sleepily, and they yawn as they look at you. And they say, your friend is stuck in between what they wanted to do and what they could have done.
So how do we reach her?
She wakes up, pushing her arms outwards, and she starts walking towards you. And she like leans in close. It's kind of like this. I don't know how to describe how Asians do it. Like when they sort of sit on their haunches, but their butt's not really hitting the ground, right? Like, but their knees are near their face. So she.
Oh, a hunker.
Yeah. I've seen this great video though, where people who are not Asian have a hard time doing it. but anyway, so like, they hunker down to do that. And they have their hands up, and they peer down at you. Well, getting someone like your friend out of this in-between state is going to be difficult, but it can't hurt to bring something that could remind them that the future could be better. And she gives this very pointed look at the Aswang that's sort of like puttering around, trying to find something useful to do in the refuge.
Right. You. Come along.
And Celeste, like, who's super hot and super goth, like in this, somewhere between like a business suit and full-on goth outfit that only cyberpunk futures can design. She looks over and she's like, me? And there's like a little fang poking out from her, and her blood red eyes sort of flicker.
You.
Me?
You.
Yes, me. And she walks over. Are we going to kill someone? That's what I'm good at.
And not quite. We're going to kind of do
The opposite?
I was going to say a little bit of maybe the opposite, but sure, let's just. By the way, this is Ava. She's now a talking tiger. They're now talking tigers, so
Ooh. You can tell that she wants to reach out to pet the tiger, but she's polite, so she's not gonna pet the tiger without consent.
I'm a tiger, and I think like that. I think like I do sort of take on some of the personality of the creatures that I turn into. So I probably don't have the usual sense of personal space. So I probably like as she kind of reaches down a little bit, I'd like kind of push my head over, like yep.
Yeah, you see her melt a little bit.
Process.
Yeah. Like her face goes like, oh, like she's so happy and like petting this huge tiger. Wow. I've seen you in the hollow books. Are you a normal sized tiger? Are you a normal looking tiger? Is there something different?
I think I'm pretty close to normal sized, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I know they're big. I know they're, they're bigger than a person, but not like house sized. So I have a general idea of the scale.
But yeah, she pets you and she says, okay, so off we go somewhere to not kill things, I suppose. And you can see like she looks around, her ears are slightly sharpened. And she can sort of hear the scratching of the hollow ghost, but she doesn't know what it is. Does Reina want to peek into this situation, or Diane, are you cool with observing for now?
I'm cool with observing because I kind of have a scene idea. So
nice,
I'm
nice.
percolating.
Okay.
Very cool. Just let us know.
So it's not going to be a full-blown field trip. Got it.
You didn't want to walk in on the scene of Eduardo,
a goth vampire
talking to the goth vampire, scratching a tiger's ears. I mean,
it's wonderful to watch.
You see that every day.
Yeah.
You've got robots with souls
That's
to
true.
attend to.
Yes, robots.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so how are we going to break through to Sulad without a Santelmo to assist?
Oh, I think I have an idea about that.
Okay, and
So
what are
you've
we
been
going to
here
do?
quite a while, God of Transitions, haven't you?
She nods.
Want to get out of here for a second?
And then the face starts to shift towards something more masculine. And he says, I can leave this place. That's an idea I haven't had for a long time. How would we go about this, Saint?
Well, we need to get someplace and you can take us there. And I figure that the easiest way to go about doing that is probably just to let you take over my body for a bit.
So they nod and go ahead and get a token for the weak move. I think what this looks like compared to the last time the God of Fear took over, this one's very different. They reach out like a very large hand towards you. And as they do, the air and the color around you starts to turn gray, starts to fade, starts to leak color. And you can see the excess color just sort of floating, like as if in a lava lamp, like just not finding any purchase as the magic starts to activate, starts to glow, and all of you starts to turn gray. And there's this sigh as he smiles. This is what it's like to be more real. I've forgotten what it's like to not be forgotten. As they start to fully embody you, and you can feel yourself starting to see the in-between of all things. Like when you look at Ava, I'm sure it's a trip because Ava is like perpetually in a middle state of transitioning into different. So like when you see Ava, you can see all of the possible animals. They could be just sort of like flickering in and out. When Eduardo looks at Celeste, you can see Celeste is caught, like really split down the middle between who she is now and who she was before. And you can see the gulf, the gap in between those two things, the disconnection of how much she does not remember the life that she used to have. And you can see this place around you. You can see what it looked like in the middle of war, before the war, after the war. Like everything is just slowly just shifting. It's not the same kind of like intensity that Marisol experiences. It's all just very fluid, very gentle. But now you can walk through the spaces if you like. I feel you'd be able to go straight to Sulad through this if you want to.
Does this let me see what the future of these things could be as well?
Oh, I'd say, yeah, because like I want to sort of like tie this in with a strong move for sure, or it could even just be a neutral move. Yeah, but I think we'd be able to. So tell me, what are the flickerings of this future that we see? What are these glimpses?
The school is up and running. There are kids running around laughing. There's little robots running around everywhere doing odd jobs, patching holes, that sort of thing. It's actually starting to look like, instead of a ramshackle mess of corrugated metal and brick and cinder blocks, it's actually starting to look like a structure, like a building, like a place where people might willingly go, as opposed to just winding up there because they don't have any place else to turn. And considering how many tokens I have, I think I'll spend one to make that more real.
Ooh. Okay, so in your case, your hope is for to teach others to be their own gods. How do you make this more real in the moment? And you can be as big as you like, right? Because you are spending a token for this.
I think the people who are there can see what's going on. At least in terms of us flickering in and out and flickering between states. And that slowly starts spreading outward. So they start seeing the buildings around them flicker in kind of ghost in and out, almost like there's clipping in a video game where suddenly it's this kind of wall, and then you could almost see through it, or you're passing through it, and suddenly it's something else. And I think that gives everyone around the inspiration to take ownership of this idea and start working collectively to make it happen.
Right, like real hope is planted in them for the first time.
Right, like they can almost see a plan for it. So instead of just showing up there because they don't have any place else to go, they can start seeing what it could be and what they need to lay down and what foundations they need to put in place to make this happen. And so instead of just being there, they see what it could be and what they need to do to make that come to pass.
Yeah, and it's one of those like interesting moments of time where in order for this future to happen, the people in the past had to see it. So it's like this strange bit of magic. Yeah, so for sure, I would say this also justifies moving the tracker towards magic being reborn, which means you get to, so I'm here at the Reckoning or Homecoming tab, which I should show on the screen. So you get to choose, or anybody gets to choose an option. One of us is revitalize, we choose to free an enslaved, or one of us strengthens, we temporarily gain access to another form of elemental magic?
I think, unless anybody has an objection, we free another enslaved.
Ooh. Okay, what do we have in mind? I like this idea. You're going to say something, Bethany?
No.
Sorry, I kicked my cat by accident and I had to deal with my guilt. I'm so sorry, Merlin. Anyway, we were freeing an enslaved. I would say, yeah, just to make it make sense. Do we want to say that the whole time this was happening, it turns out there was like a, because we know there are 3 dozen after you, so we can say that there was a small group that was slowly encroaching on the space. Would that make sense?
That
Sure.
would make sense. Yeah.
And to further tie it in, I feel like it would make sense if one of you recognizes who these enslaved were. Does anyone have any ideas of who they would like to? Well, except because Marisol is busy being a sad girl by the ocean. But if anyone has any other ideas.
Diana, you weren't here well last week. Do you want to pick?
Unfortunately, I'm still kind of blanking.
Yeah,
like,
that's okay.
for adding setting elements to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bethany, any ideas?
I don't have any concrete ideas. Though I think this is the right choice. I just don't know, like.
Yeah, I do have suggestions though. Oh, sorry, were you going to say something, Leandro?
I was going to say we can percolate on that and see, and finally cut to Reina, see what this scene then has.
That works.
Yeah, we think about who we'd want to free.
Yeah, makes sense. How do we feel about cutting to Reina's scene?
Absolutely.
We're actually about to hit the top of the hour, so if we want to, we can go into the scene or we can take a break to really give everybody space. What do we feel like doing? I'll leave it up to Diana if we want to jump into your scene or take a break.
I'm good with either. I'll just be sitting here during the break, so.
I could use a couple of seconds to get meds in my system.
Sure. Yeah. Let's go ahead.
That'd give Diana a couple more minutes to think and percolate.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead with a 5-minute break. Let's feel it out if 5 minutes is okay. And then so we'll be back in 5 minutes. All right. Thanks so much. See you guys in a bit. one of my cats is so upset with me because like I sat on the couch for 5 minutes and exactly like at the 4th minute he came up to cuddle and I got up a minute later. I feel like cats have this magical ability to know when you're about to leave and be productive.
Well, when you're about ready to get up and do something anyway, they can get in the way.
Yeah, they're definitely the little gods of procrastination or something similar. But yeah,
encouraging reflection.
the little gods of reflection. There we go. The little gods of like just taking a moment. Okay, so welcome back, everybody. So we were thinking about going into Reina's scene next, just to see what they're up to, and then we're probably going to cut back. I'm sure, like the other 3, we're going to see them all together in the next scene. But how do we feel about that, Diana? Okay. So what do we see for what's going on with Reina?
So I think it's not too often that Reina's left alone for too long, because that usually leads to not good things. But they're assuming that since no one's come back from wherever they were off to doing the previous season, that either they're still working on it or it's all good. And I mean, they did get distracted with having these new robot souls to play with and program and everything. But because they are out and about on their own right now, they try to avoid the sentient smog a lot, or at least you all try to have them not interact with the sentient smog a lot, because when Reina's in their pure form of all the mini droids, it's too much of an obsession to try to like interact with the smog and maybe reprogram the smog a bit. And it's like, well, why do you have to be a gray color? Why can't you be a pretty pink smog? And then that leads to not good consequences. Usually for either of them. And so I think Reina's been mostly kind of like following the trail. Once they were secure, like, oh, the robots, they're doing okay right now. I can leave them alone for a while. Oh, that's cool. And so they're following a trail of wisp that they think is the sentient smog. And I think they run into some hollow ghosts.
Ooh.
And
go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that because we know that the smog has been trying to like swallow these things and take them. So when they run into each other, is it a moment when the sentient smog is trying to absorb more of these hollow ghosts, or is something else happening?
Yeah, and I don't think Reina ever like caught on to that's what the smog was doing before. Like they never personally witnessed it. It's like, oh well, that seems silly. Like it doesn't make sense to them. And so they kind of like go into this alleyway and not realizing that the sound they're hearing is the hollow ghost screaming. And so they kind of similar in the first session, where they kind of just stare and like surprised at what's going on. But there's something about the hollow ghosts, or maybe these particular hollow ghosts, that kind of. Actually, I'm sorry. I have to take a phone call real quick.
Sure, no problem. Yeah. No problem. We're gonna skip to another thing just really quick. So we'll just come back. I feel like we should look into either a sad girl or
A sad girl would probably take a little bit less time.
Okay, so Marisol, what do we see after our very busy body of a guardian is dealing with you?
I think Marisol has like actively trying to move away from like at least where she knows the building is. Well, she's in Sulad. Like she's not safe, but like this is her domain. So I think what she's done is like she's what this looks like is like, the floating platform of water. I think she's had that talk with her Sulad friend, although they can probably tag along. She's just walking off, as in, and literally just walking off the platform, and kind of like falls down to where the ground is, and kind of like falls and splash, and she's just gonna walk into the city. And I think let me look at the bits of the city.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think actually, as she's kind of walking, because she's mulling over what was told to her, can I ask what painful memory stalks me?
Oh, of course you can. I'm always happy to answer that question. So as you walk through the city, in particular, there is a memory of, you can see there's a group of enslaved. So we know that it's Ava who accessed. Oh, wait, sorry, 1 second.
Mhm.
Yeah, just checking. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, just checking on the chat. So yeah, I just want to make sure Diana's okay before we
No worries.
before we move on. Mhm. Okay. Okay, sure. All right. So and you see that there's like these memories that come around. Ava was aware of the 3 dozen or so elementals who were stalking you, and you can see that there's a memory that they left behind in the area where one of the enslaved was trying to fight back and saying, no, this is our chance. We can be free. We don't have to listen to them. They've let us go to hunt these others. We could just try. And you can see that amongst themselves, and this is the sad truth of those who were like enslaved, if they have a chance to try to escape, the others become too scared and they try to corral each other. And so that's what's happening here. You can see that in this case, it was a group of Diwata. So there were 3 of them, each very strongly embodying an element, one of water, one of fire, one of earth. And the earth elemental was the one who was trying to convince the other Diwata to escape. And so when they don't listen, the other 2 Diwata attack the earth Diwata. And you see this horrible memory of her dragging herself to try to escape their anger. And you see that she drops into a sewer and allows her body to melt into the sewer to protect herself.
Oh, yeah, I think I'm gonna follow where that Earth Duwata went, and I think I'm on the streets now, and again the buildings are transparent except for those black edges. That was look almost kind of like smoke, and Marisol's watching this memory, and she doesn't feel good seeing that. In fact, that memory is almost kind of like already um, filtering into her soul, I guess, her like flickering ghost form. No, Puppet, I'll make the playlist. It's fine. And I think she'll go to like where the sewer is, which is like weird because she kind of has to like slosh through the water. For some reason, the water's not going into the hole, so she has to like dive in, which is like confusing metaphysically, I suppose. And I guess kind of like the neutral move I'm doing, because I'm searching for signs of death and the dying. I'm trying to find where this Earth Duwata went.
Ooh, okay. So as you follow, and because you're traveling and flickering through both the quotation mark real world and Sulad, everything takes on this pale, transparent color, as you said. As you go down into the sewer, you can see that the sentient smog is thick here. As you walk through it, you can feel it it clings to your skin. It hasn't fully formed here yet. You can see it's like over there, but you can see the memory, and you can feel the fear that was going through the Diwata's mind as the sentient smog was about to descend upon her and feast on her to gain her memories and to gain her power. And you could hear all these voices together saying, "You will make us stronger. We need your power."
Ooh, can I tell if this is a memory? Oh, this is a memory, right?
Mhm.
So this has happened. Okay.
Well, I will say that the memory feels very fresh, and you
Okay.
can feel like there's this, because as a Santelmo, you can sort of tell like when the memory ends and when the present is starting to catch up to it, right? So it didn't happen too long ago. I will say, and so since we also established that the sentient smog is part of this, it could be a good way for Reina to like come in.
Yeah, we can cut back to Reina now.
Yeah, on the other end, as Marisol starts to realize what's happening. But yeah, if we're cool with going for Diana, like no pressure.
Yeah. So like I was saying, like at first Reina was kind of just surprised at like what's going on here. But I think with these particular hologhosts, they kind of recognized her, or like, which is surprising because most don't tend to recognize, especially in this form, in their true form. And like in a distorted noise, they call out for Reina, but it's not. The funny thing is, it's not Reina's name; it's their past name, the one that both Reina and Marisol probably used back in the before. And that like kind of triggers almost like a protection protocol in trying to stop the smog from like eating these hologhosts.
Ooh, okay. I like it. Are we going to use a neutral move for your magic, or because you don't always have to spend a token to use the magic, it just
Right.
comes with a consequence.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take action inviting risk.
Yeah. Okay. Take action inviting risk, or use your magic with consequence. Like, which one do you think is a better fit?
Oh no, probably using magic. It would have been a reaction.
Cool. Okay, so what you're doing is not another step in order to protect the hollow ghosts.
Yeah.
That are about to. So you are setting down. Let me just show it on the screen once again. You're setting down your protocols of protection. You told me that you're protecting the hollow ghosts, right?
Yes.
The price that you have to pay, or what you have to do first. I would say, in this case, the price that you'd have to pay maybe is that since you're in your true form, all these drones that are flying around, you will have to risk some of the sentient smog, like sort of like merging with some of your drones. Like there's this, like where the smog ends, where the drones begin, sort of gets a bit blurred. Yeah, which can lead to like awesome stuff later, but for now it kind of sucks.
Yeah, like I kind of like threw a whole shield of them to like protect, and they were like the first line of defense, so they got taken.
Yeah, absolutely. And when this happens, who was the friend that you were hanging out with earlier? It was, let's see.
I didn't write it down, but I think I named her Allie with like two
That's right.
ones.
That's right.
As the L's.
Yeah, so you see someone, because I'm just looking, it's an artisan who specialized in pre-colonial tech. Did we establish if they're human or element? I think they're like human, right?
Yeah, human, because they're they're the ancient aliens of this time.
That's right. Aliens, elementals. And it's really weird because you look back and you're protecting the hologhost, which you do successfully, right? The sentient smog just sort of like, there's this sense of like, fuck this shit, and like they shift backwards a bit. But you look back and you see one of the hologhosts looks like Allie, but it looks like a younger version of Allie. It looks like she's like 8 years old.
Oh wow.
Or something. And she looks at you and she recognizes you. And she says, Reina, I did something stupid.
What did you do?
But it was just an experiment. It seemed like a good idea at the time. And you can see like in front of you, she's like getting younger and younger. She's like going to 6 years old. She's going to 4 years old.
I think the rest of my drone self like try to like hover over her and like almost in a humanoid shape of like kneeling down, but not going back into my other form yet.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just remember. Did anyone ever see the movie Batteries Not Included? It's an old, I think, 80s movie.
Oh yeah, like a long time
No
ago though.
Disassembled Johnny
But
Five.
I don't remember anything about it other than that I've seen it.
Yeah, so the aliens were actually mini ships, and they had like little arm things come out to like, and so one of my drones kind of looks like that. Now I've just they kind of look mostly like that, not like the ugly drones we have nowadays. So like a little like arm comes out of one of them to try to like pat Allie, like what's going, like trying to be reassuring but like not understanding, like humans don't do this. Like
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah, I had to look up Batteries Not Included. It's really adorable. I really like this. So I'm behind this 100%. And so as you reach out, Allie says, it should be I think, and then she starts losing the ability to speak because now she's going down to 2 years old. But she sort of gives you this like face, like everything is okay, and then she just flips out of existence.
I think, yeah, one of the drones just comes to like investigate the little areas where tiny baby Allie was, and is there like any traces of her at all, like clothing or whatever she might have been wearing?
Ooh, that's a good thing. That's a good question. I would say that there is this locket, this necklace that she used to always wear that was around her neck. Yeah, and it has a form of pre-colonial tech attached to it. So that's what she still has. Well, that's all that's left.
So yeah, I think as one of the drones like comes and picks it up, that's when I form back into my humanoid form. And confused, put the necklace on and then turn to look at the hollow ghosts. And what I do?
Yeah, so just to reestablish, we know that the hollow ghosts. Well, we know as players, we're not yet sure if we know as characters, that the hollow ghosts are actually partly the memories that have. It's what happens when the memory hunters pull out a memory, and so that's what's left behind. It appears to be a hollow ghost. But what are ghosts if not memories? So there's that blurry line right there. But they can usually get aggressive and angry. They can also swarm. But in this case, you just protected them, and they were like, you can see they're looking over you. They were looking at where baby Allie was, where child Allie was, and they look a little like, oh no, like they look a little concerned. But they feel very like when you feel them out. These hollow ghosts feel very simple. It's not how Marisol, like when Marisol interacts with a ghost. Right. These hollow ghosts really feel kind of like they're really only partly there. They really are only fragments.
I want to do a weak move then. And despite the fact that I just protected them, I'm going to allow my greed to get the better of me. Because they have information. They have information of the before, and I want that information. And especially because I believe that maybe this will help with whatever Allie was into.
Yeah, whatever she got in over her head with. Absolutely. Yeah, so go ahead and take a token for that. How do you want to possess the hollow ghost? Do you want to download them into your drones, into your systems?
I like the idea of possessing them.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's combine drones and hollow ghosts.
Yes.
So yeah, so you are perfectly capable of doing this. You had just protected them. They were in a vulnerable open state. So that definitely happens. But there is some sort of let me just double check. I'm looking at the setting elements. I have tabs within tabs. I think that's a confusing thing about Google Sheets. It's like you have to find the tab and then you have to get the other tab. I'd say this feels like it's connected to the fading. Hmm. What when this happens? What vulnerability do we see in Reina? Like, and it's up to you what this vulnerability means. Like, it could be, and like we didn't realize Reina was capable of doing something like this, or it could be like a physical vulnerability that can be taken advantage of later.
Yeah, it's the vulnerability. Yeah, I guess I like the idea that people didn't realize that they were capable of doing something like that. Like, Reina technically, because of greed, can continually evolve and adapt to consume.
Right. And we know that like it's sort of like it's kind of like when you watch a documentary and you see an animal eating another animal. Like there's this like it's not cruel, right? But
Yeah,
um but there's a distancing from what we perceive to be compassion or whatever.
yeah, and the whole thing is that when Reina's alone, they tend to degress.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This makes perfect sense because Ali just disappeared. Yeah. Perfect. I really like it. And at that moment, I think that's when Reina is going to see that the other part of the sentient smog that you've been dealing with, you realize it's an even bigger section than you had thought, but it's getting pulled into the sewers, right? It's getting pulled into down below, and from the sewer you can sort of see like these flickering lights coming in and out, and there's a screaming sound coming from there. So I think we're going to cut back to I want to say Maricel, but I kind of want to see what's happening with Eduardo and Ava because it's been a while since we saw them. So Eduardo currently has the god of the in-betweens, of the transitions, embodying them, and Celeste is along for this semi-field trip. What's happening with our group over there?
Well, have we actually transitioned to the underworld yet?
Yeah, I feel like I definitely feel that's a thing. Do you have an idea for what that transition looks like, or would you like me to supply it?
You know, if it's okay, why not have Marisol supply it?
Ooh, sure. So what does it look like when the god of the in-between helps them transition to Sulad, the underworld?
Yeah, the thing is, the god in between is that it's an interstitial, it's a transition. It's not so getting in between places is easy enough. I think it's getting access. There you have access, but actually using that access is something else. I think the what the little god in between gives you is like, well, gives you the journey, but when you get to the destination, it's gonna be a bit trickier. So I think what it feels like when like I guess all three of you are like is sliding between planes. It feels like that. It feels like you're sliding in between like what feels like these walls of glass. It's pressing against you and you're sliding down. It's a smooth slide, but like it's uncomfortable. It's like you're moving from one plane to the next and you're moving to a plane that like you know you're not a Santelmo. So it feels discomforting because it does feel like you're not dead, but it does feel like people are walking all over your grave, and it's hard to like not shiver, and it's a sensation of falling, even though you're just kind of like standing there. But I think Um, yeah, I think you'll get there, but like I think as soon as like three of you, your feet, touch the wet shores, not shores, the wet seabed of Sulad, I think that is gonna trigger a response from the Guardians, for
Ooh,
sure.
yeah, absolutely. And I would say like our mysterious boats person is also there, looks towards the three and says, "Oh, I was sure Marisol had friends. I mean, I was hoping that was the case. Um, unfortunately, I don't think you should really be here, though. Not in this way." And at that moment, that's when these wetsuits that were moving with the floodlights, the business suits, and everything, the hangers that was described earlier, they all like all the lights just come as one, like and focus on the three of you. What do you do?
Huh.
Also, is the tiger wet? Like, did the tiger like? Is this
Oh yeah,
something
yeah, I'm sure.
And how does the tiger feel about this?
Kind of irritated, but much more irritated by these creepy wetsuits with lights. And I think, I mean, I'm gonna do what a tiger would do in this situation and jump on one.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like it's a moment where it's like this huge, like a laser pointer situation. Just attack the starts of the laser pointer. Yeah, just to really think this in, can I say all the lights turned red at this moment because they were like kind of intruder situation. I just want a big cat.
Just see the closest one and just like leap at it and start, trying to tear it to shreds.
Would you say this goes to? I feel like it could either be lose control of your shape and abilities, or prioritize the spirit realm over reality. Like we could, for your
I think I'm losing control of. Well, no, I'm still in control of my shape.
yeah, but the abilities are like that.
But abilities, yeah, I am not acting with the common sense of a human here. I'm acting with the, moving glowing thing. Must jump on.
Must attack. It's dangerous. Yeah. So go ahead and get your token. So you can see the guardians all sort of like enter into this mode, like where the programming takes over, and they all start converging towards your point. And you hear Celeste say, "I thought we weren't killing anything, but if the tiger started, I'm gonna jump in and kill." What? No killing.
Try not to kill.
But the tiger's doing it. How come I can't do it?
The tiger's attacking spotlights.
Yeah, and in that moment,
the tiger's basically playing with a laser pointer.
You can see like the business suits being torn apart by the tiger in the background. And Celeste is looking at you. It looks like killing from here.
Just try not to kill anything. Try not to permanently take anything out of commission. Just try. Are there any little gods in the area?
Of course, there are little gods who, in this area in Sulad, they are sadder than the little gods from where you came from, because these are gods that are on the verge of vanishing forever. They are barely there anymore. When a god knows death, it is the saddest thing. They either accept it or there is great anger in doing so, or they become like Diana wrote. They could become sad little ghosts, sad little gods, sad little girl gods.
All right, so I'm not looking for vengeful little gods. I'm looking for little gods that recognize that they're still alive, even here.
Ooh, so gods that are more comfortable in Sulad.
Not that they've necessarily made peace with dying or going into the fading, but that know this isn't necessarily the end.
Yeah, I'd say that there are these gods that handle things like reincarnation, cycles, death, and rebirth. All of that all of those things, but they're sort of like, you can see how they're like flickering in and out. And this is something that only the saint can see. All of them, like the water stretches out, and you can see like it's like a Death Stranding moment where there are just these like floating bodies with the toes pointed downwards, and they're all connected. But yeah, so they're all just like staring at you, waiting. They all look different to the like at the same time.
Hello there, little ones.
Hello, they all say with one voice.
I'm looking for a friend of mine. Do you think you could help us?
And then so they talk differently, but they're all saying one sentence where they say, "We can help find your friend. Was it the one moping and whining on the shore earlier?"
That certainly sounds like her.
Yes, we can help, of course. She comes here a lot to cry.
That doesn't surprise me. And what
So
would you all want for helping us?
Oh, what would these other gods want? We want sunlight. We want dawns. We want to see through your eyes sometimes.
That's fair. Do you think you can work with the guardians here to help them, well, do you think you can make the guardians stop? We don't need to fight.
Yeah, they all move forward. Would you like to perform a miracle to make sure this goes off without a hitch?
Oh, why not? I haven't done a miracle this session.
So you can spend a token for it. Let's see. I'm looking. Let me just put it on the screen. I'm looking. Miracles are easy to receive, even in God-forsaken cities. Reach out to the gods in the area, which you have done, and pray for a miracle. Which one do you choose? The gods overdo it, or the miracle asks for a cost, or a third party is required to perform the miracle?
Well, before we do that, what essential truth am I not seeing?
Ooh. The essential truth you are not seeing is that Sulad is dying, that the Sulad is fading. It really speaks to how magic is weakening. And I think rather than Sulad itself dying, it's more like the connection between your world and Sulad is being slowly eroded. There will come a point when people will die in the city and they can no longer reach the other side. They'll be trapped within the city.
Okay. So I want to remind the little gods that when they come with us and they see sunlight again, they're going to need to help us.
And they nod. Yeah, like, because what I'm imagining this miracle would look like is they would actually form a chain leading you straight to where Marisol is also, but also making sure that they calm down the guardians at the same time, who, Ava is sort of like like when a cat like grabs a toy and like,
Rolling?
Shakes its head.
yeah. And they're trying to
Wait, did I just miss Bethany shaking her head like a cat?
No.
No, that was me. That wasn't them.
Okay. Okay. God, that's cool. A chain of little gods. That's so awesome.
But yeah, and
Ava?
so go ahead.
Ava, it's time to stop chewing
Turn
on things.
myself away from the yeah. they've kind of calmed down and stopped moving around so much anyway. So I look up like, oh, right.
You've been a very, very good tiger. You've protected us. You've done well. This is what tigers do. So you've been a good tiger.
Right. Okay. I turn back to my human form as I'm realizing, like, okay, can't be a tiger because I will act like a tiger.
And then on the other side, like there's Celeste trying to not act like a tiger. Oh, we're done. And drops one of the guardians. Like, yes, did not kill anything, which is difficult. Bringing a fucking Aswang and asking him to not fucking kill. What the hell is wrong with these people? Like,
But you did it. You challenged yourself. You succeeded. You've grown today.
She has this face of like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
All right. So I take it we're now walking through the underworld to go find Marisol.
Yeah. And
I
so,
think so.
so you follow. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'll say I have a ton of tokens here. I can spend one to allow my animal instincts to reveal the truth of where Marisol is.
Ooh, yeah. So we can say that you get there much faster with the help of the little gods and your instincts taking over. Do you shift into a particular anthropomorphic or animal form in order to?
I think, given what just happened, I'm avoiding that.
Yeah. So you're still keeping your kind of human form, mostly.
Yeah. I think, like, I've never been a tiger before, but that was both very fun and also I'm afraid to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I gotta ask, because we're in the underworld. What memories of animals do the little gods here possess that we don't know about?
Oh, ooh. So here you can. Oh, why is my brain going to like the saddest possibility?
Because of Marisol.
You can see that there are these memories of these animals that the Corp had been. Oh, let me know. By the way, I think we're gonna hit. I'm double checking our safety. This could potentially go towards harm to animals. So let me know if we're gonna script change this. But what I'm seeing is that there were animals that the Corp was trying to experiment on, graft one into another to see what they could do. But the Corp had like erased this data, trying to make sure no one ever found out about it. But we see these animals sort of lost in the area, not knowing what to do. They were never truly alive, but they hadn't truly died either. So they're stuck in this in between. Are we okay with this though, or is this too?
I'm okay with that. Bethany, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Everybody else okay with that?
Cool. Okay, so, but that's
I
what
mostly put that down to like have to avoid kids torturing cats and that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, same. That's yeah, no abuse for sure.
How can we bring them with us?
Ooh, I think Ava could definitely do it with their ability. Like the spirit realm and Sulad are kind of like, they're not the same thing, but they're in the same server room, if that makes sense. Like that's kind of
same room, different racks.
Yeah, it's something like there's something similar. So I feel like Ava would be able to assist.
I could certainly use my magic with consequences here.
Oh yes, let's do that. Okay. So I'm taking a look at the magic that we have, just making sure we can put up the screen as well. It is a spirit speak that we're thinking about doing.
Yeah, I think so. I think they are an example of the digital remains of the spirit realm. If that works, if that is true. So describe and create a ritual.
You might want to ask what price the spirit realm asks.
that's true. Do I want to do both of those things? Okay. Out of character, I don't think this is like a super interesting thing to linger on forever, like talking to these animals or these, ghosts. So like I don't want to tie it up for a long time. So I think what price does the spirit realm pay is sort of a shortcut through that rather than creating a ritual.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Yeah, it's a great idea. I would say that the price that the spirit realm asks for is that in order to take them along with you, you'll have to sort of like download them directly into your machine systems.
Oh wow, all these like weird mutant corp created animals. I mean, obviously, yes, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and it would be like and I kind of love the idea like you're walking past and then they just sort of like, it's like a Matrix Tron thing where they kind of like disintegrate into code and then just sort of wax towards you. Yeah, like and then just sort of like get ridden into your.
Oh, that's going to be fun to sort out later.
Oh yeah. A weird little code parade, Puckett said in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. I also really appreciate how we go through this faster by having this week move done. That's very cool. Yeah. So I'd say that definitely helps. You're able to get there faster along with the strong move that you spent. So this is a good time to cut back to poor Marisol, who is like about to discover the horrors of what is happening to this Earth Diwata who was just trying to escape and was attacked by their fellow elementals. They're enslaved and is now at the mercy of this horrible fog.
Yeah, I think Marisol is like really fixated on this Earth Diwata, probably to not think about herself for the moment. And yeah, I think she's in the sewer, and I think the fog's just very touching her, and like I think she knows what the fog is. It's the smog. It's been going around, pulling people into the smog. It's an after effect. It might not be conscious, or it is. It's sentient, but like it's hard to talk to it. So I think what Marisol's gonna do is she mimes like holding her breath and just walks into the fog. And as she's doing it, I think protocols are still fine. So I think I'm going to spend a token to use my magic haunting accuracy and start bringing the fog into Sulad. And see what manifests when you bring this smog into the underworld. And I think what this looks like is like Marisol is like walking through the fog, inadvertently walking towards Reina, for sure. And I think the world around her starts like glitching in places, starting from where she was. So like I'm what I'm imagining is the little gods will go down, go to the sewer, and what they find is like it's like a tunnel, a proper portal is being opened up, and Ava and Eduardo and Celeste will find like the sentient smog is coming into Sulad. Probably the little gods are probably like, yeah, that's where Marisol is. She's in the smog. But yeah, as Marisol is like walking through this smog. Does the smog change shape when it enters the underworld?
Yeah. The moment it starts to shift towards it, what starts to happen is all of those people, because it was like swallowing both hologhosts and people. It was also swallowing memories, lots of things. As it enters the Sulad, it starts to pull apart, like what was once just this cohesive whole that it was forcing on what it was taking in. It starts tearing apart and going back into its individual people and pieces and memories as it spills into Sulad. And at the center of it, you can see the Earth Diwata like in the middle of being torn apart. Like she's still holding herself together because Diwata are incredibly powerful creatures of elemental magic, but she has been weakened badly by the fight that she had with the other enslaved.
So the Earth Diwata is still alive then?
Barely, but yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, I think
you also noticed a couple of Reyna's drones, the ones that got taken when she was protecting the Hollow Ghosts.
That's right.
So you see some very glitchy, almost half eaten by the nano smog that you know for a fact, oh, that's part of Reyna.
okay.
But you haven't talked to Reyna since y'all left, so
Yeah, but I think seeing that Marisol kind of know like, okay, there's a friend nearby. And that's a thought she had. It's just and so I think what she does is, and I'm gonna spend another token to make what I hope feel come real. And what this looks like is, as Marisol was walking through the fog, she was like, she was getting a bit more unsteady. She was kind of like muttering, somewhat to herself, but to the fog, and she's saying like, "Hi, hey, I don't know if you can talk. I don't know if you're being directed. I don't know if you're even conscious about what you're doing, but I've heard enough stories of what you leave behind, and you don't leave behind much, do you? So I'm sorry, but you're not gonna take this one. I don't care. I don't care what you're going to do to me. You're not going to take this one. No, I'm sorry. Hi. Oh, hi. My name's Marisol as well. Apparently, this is kind of my job. So don't feel too bad that I'm getting in your way. So if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to clarify, because this last move was what you make what you hope for more real, but your hope is to reconnect to your human lover. You feel this would sort of go with let the dead speak, though? Like maybe you could gain information that could that could stop the smog from what it's doing. That's also a possibility.
Ooh, yeah. I think yeah, okay.
Unless you want to drag to it, totally okay.
No, I didn't know that was out moved. I thought that was just a catch-all for like, no, I'll risk everything, but they'll get what I want. Okay, no. All right. Yeah, I think let the dead speak would be more interesting. I think as Marisol is kind of like walking towards Earth Diwata, and she kind of knows that like, I don't know if she knows that there are little gods coming after her on the other side who don't have to deal with all the spillage of this smog. Sorry. Yeah, I think as she's kind of muttering herself, her form is like just like flickering back and forth. But I think there's like this core in the middle that is just like, oh yeah, no, that is kind of like her. And yeah, the dead speak.
Yeah. So which option would you like to choose? Because we have. Let me just put it on the screen again. To choose one, the information is incomplete but untraceable, or the information is complete but you were tagged, or the information is complete but reveals a dark secret.
As much as the last one sounds tempting, I think it makes more sense to be tagged because this Earth Diwata was part of that group that's being press ganged into chasing us. And this is a fairly ostentatious use of, well, okay, we've cast 3 miracles in the same day, so but coupled with this, accessing the underworld and like pulling the smog in, this is a lot, and we have to confront the core at some point. So yeah, I think this is just a case. This is just a case of like Marisol kind of like as she's walking, and I'm imagining for some reason she's kind of like has her hand above her mouth as if like she's afraid to like get a little bit of the smog in, like walking through an actual smog. She's opening like I guess the spiritual equivalent of like communications channels to pinging any of the dead who haven't been claimed or who are there when the smog formed. And I think the thing she just asked is like, how can I save this person?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I'm just reviewing what we wrote. I would say that you see, yeah, this idea won't leave my head. You see a younger version of Eduardo standing in the smog that starts to form. And you hear a voice that says, if you can see this, if this recording has reached you, it means that the worst has happened. It means that they've taken what I've been trying to protect, what I wouldn't let them take. And it means they've erased my memories to do this. This smog, no, he wouldn't call it smog. This weapon wasn't supposed to be created. This was only an experiment. This was only proof of concept. So, what I want to ask, Eduardo, what did your past self do? How did this smog come to being?
Well, we've already established that I didn't remember a whole heck of a lot about Caesar. And now the smog is sitting here saying that it's taken my memories. So would I remember what I did? I mean, it kind of sounds like I just walked away from all of it and kind of put on a robe and I'm doing meditation classes now. So how much of my past do I actually remember?
Ooh, I'd say in this moment, it'd be really cool if this is the exact moment when Ava and Eduardo and Celeste walk in on the other side of the sewer with the gods leading. And so we see like the current Eduardo in the robes and the past Eduardo on the other side. This could be a good time to sort of like, considering what Marisol is doing, for Eduardo to remember something that they've forgotten.
It's years before. I'm in a very expensive suit in an office tall and high up in a building with a window. There's a few engineers running through simulations with me, showing me data on the tablets, inputs and outputs, peak operating levels. It was supposed to be a new way to generate power. It wasn't supposed to turn out like this. None of us could have foreseen this, but all of us are responsible.
Yeah.
We knew that memories had power. We knew that memories meant things. We didn't know that turning them into actual power for power plants would make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel so sick because I was about to say that's what the smog was originally, to take these memories and turn them into something. But yeah, so we can see that past Eduardo, it's flickering, but this is something that everyone can see now, that's sort of spilling into the sewer. And so when this is shown very clearly to Marisol, that's when she can see the vulnerability in the smog, because all it's trying to do is to create power. It's trying to generate that power and store it. So taking away that power would be difficult because it's quite strong, but overpowering it, causing it to go overload, is a possibility, especially with all these elementals in one space.
I see those drones.
Mm-hmm.
Do those drones like feedback info to Reina in any way? Does she know all this is happening?
I think I probably originally lost touch with them, but then when I decided to take over the Hollow Ghosts and do all that, I got reconnected. But it's like broken information. It's not a clear feed like before.
Like trying to watch television when there's a snowstorm, that sort of thing?
Never been in a snowstorm, but yes.
Okay.
I live in the Bay Area. We don't get any crazy things except the random earthquake, but
Just an earthquake.
no big deal.
Just
It's over
something
in
that
5
disrupts the cable or knocks it out where you can see part of what's going on, but it's like through a haze. Like,
Yeah.
watching HBO as a kid on the old cable boxes when you didn't have the subscription.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like that, and I think probably this is the first time that Reina's gone into the smog because that's usually bad. So a little bit more disoriented and not quite making the connections quite yet that what's going on. But like, oh, they're there, they're doing something. Okay.
Ava?
But if you call out to Reina, they'll respond.
You know what happens when I do miracles, and I'm going to need you to watch over me for a little bit.
Yeah, I had an idea, but yeah, never mind.
Go ahead.
What idea did you have?
Oh, I'm trying to think of how much this would be like horning in on Marisol's thing, and I think it would be, so I'm not going to do it.
It's a group effort. Go ahead. What's the idea?
Well, my idea is this Diwata is the person that I'm trying to save. But again, like, I hate to do that.
No, it's fine. Like I like the idea that well, Marisol was only like fixated on this Diwata because she was trying to distract herself from her own nonsense.
But I don't.
No, it's fine. I think. Let's figure out a way how to get Ava to realize it. I think.
Oh, I have an idea. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think like part of opening his communication channels. I think I don't know if I have some tokens to spare, so if I have to spend one, it's fine.
Same.
I think
that's why I was going that direction.
We all have tons of tokens.
Yeah, but I think when Marisol is opening his communications channels to the dead, because we're in proximity to Sulad, I think, those communications, they just open up to everyone, to all the elementals that are here. So I think even Reina, who's like far away, heard what past Eduardo said, and I think they think because everything's kind of fritzing up, I think they just get readouts of like what Marisol is seeing, and she is seeing that Earth Diwata who's kind of being pulled apart in the smog. And I think Ava, you'll see that that's it's your bud, it's your friend.
Yeah. You could spend a token to access a specific memory.
To
show that this is a Diwata who was trying to help Ava and was left behind.
This is the one who saved us as well.
Yeah, so Ava, I would say that you definitely see it. You see that memory sort of like when the memory is accessed, I sort of see it like Marisol, like there's this glowing coming forth. Their hair is like floating under the sewer, the fog starts to light up, and the memory just like it's a different memory. It's a different way that it's absorbed by everybody compared to when we saw Eduardo's past. We can see just bits and pieces of this Diwata reaching out, saying, no matter what, you have to make it. No matter what, you have to survive. There has to be something better than this.
So to answer your question, Eduardo, I think Ava is over like diving into the smog.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, could I make the smog? How to put this? The idea I had was basically rendering the smog almost inert, non-hostile, by shifting into my true form, which I thought would release something like an EMP. Not necessarily destroying it, because I'm trying not to destroy or harm anything else, but neutralizing it so that we can do what we need to do and get out without further influence or without further conflict.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. I'm cool with that idea. Do we also want Ava to like come in and use their abilities to scoop up the Diwata and save them?
I think that's what I was going for. Yeah. I think I can. Well, I'm gonna make what I hope for more real.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. That's true. Because we wanted to.
Because I actually do hope for this, so I can use that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, ooh, this is so good because like my idea was we weren't sure who the enslaved was that we were going to free from the.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that it was Sylvia because I was like, that's too easy. But now this makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna get back to this later in a bit when the scene resolves. But so I marked it again towards reborn, but I also marked it towards captured because of all the magic when Marisol got the information but was tagged. But we can resolve those actions, those results afterwards. I don't want to say consequences. Afterwards, but yeah, so definitely, I think so. Ava comes in, is making her hope more real. What does it look like when you come in to save them?
I think I think. I don't think Ava has time to turn into it, like fully into an animal, but I think they kind of access that like just power. And I think they just like grab this, terrified being torn apart Diwata and like haul them out physically.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great time for Eduardo to come in to turn into their full form. But does Reina also want to do something like maybe between the two of you, we could do something about the smog? It could be as permanent as you like. You could just push it back for now, or you could completely undo what the smog is and stop it from hurting people. You are powerful enough to do that if you want to spend the tokens for it, or just gain consequences for it. Because
well, what I kind of want to do, but the thing is no one's asked her to do it.
We can force them to ask you. Which
is to do. Is this what you needed? And create something out of the smog.
Yeah,
so pretty much disassemble and reassemble. But because Reina does not know what's going on, unfortunately. She's very confused.
Actually, one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead.
Temporarily neutralizes it.
Yes.
That would give you time to find out.
Yeah, maybe Eduardo can temporarily neutralize it. Marisol, who has the information and has seen the Reina drones, can communicate that information. Is that what we want to happen? I kind of like the flow.
That's what I was angling for.
Yeah.
Not just rendering it inert so we can get clear. It's rendering it inert so we can get clear and get data.
Nice. Okay, very cool. So tell me what happens when Eduardo takes on their full form and performs a miracle.
I start to walk forward and say, cover your eyes. And when I see that everyone with me who has eyes to cover has covered them, I just let loose. And it's basically like the birth of a star in a small underground cave. It's just, you can't see anything because of how bright it is. And then as I start to lose consciousness, that brightness fades. And I slump back into my human form on the ground, unconscious.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I feel like you don't even have to spend a token for this because we have such a clear consequence of what happened. I think this falls under take action, inviting risk, or even attempt to inspire. But like, so you fall over, unconscious, the water of the sewer meeting you, and the whole place is just filled with light. There's like I feel like it would be a cool moment if like there's a flash of an imprint. There are like all these wings on the sides of the sewer from that flash of light that went through, and they're left on the walls.
Like the ash left behind on walls after a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, I was thinking it. I was like, oh, should I not? But I don't want to describe it. But yeah, that's what I was thinking actually. But beautiful, not sad. And so when that happens, I think that's when Reina is like, that's a lot of elemental activity. So what happens? Oh, does Marisol want to activate the lure though? That might be a good idea.
Ooh. Sorry, I accidentally unplugged my headphones. Yeah, I think from Marisol's perspective, she was like just reaching towards the Diwata, opening these channels and hearing, oh wait, where are Ava and Eduardo? And oh no, that goth girl's there behind me. And then Ava just kind of like zooms out of nowhere to grab the Earth Diwata, and she hears Eduardo like, close your eyes. And I think the thing she does is like she sees one of the Reina drones and just kind of like grabs onto it and kind of crunches her eyes as best she can as like light flashes around her, and like she's almost like afraid to like open her eyes because like it still stings. Like it's such a brilliant light that closing your eyes, it doesn't really help. And we established that like you can't communicate through these drones, so I don't know why I grabbed it. I think Marisol just thinks like you can communicate to Reina through this. But I think
because the drone that you grabbed was the one that's been integrating with the smog nanites. So I think with nanites being nanites, you can now communicate without realizing it.
Yeah. So I think what we see is like Marisol is like curled up on the ground. She's got the drone, and she's kind of like, Reina, I don't know if you can hear this, but I think she just looks around and like the smog's now really still. And I think we're now in the real world sewers. We kind of left the underworld at this point. When we were moving forward, we went past the portal, and we'll deal with the ramifications of that later. What happened? Explode. Well, the holy light happened, and yeah, Marisol has the drones.
You're breaking up a lot, Leandro, and Frozen. At least on my end.
Yeah, same. Ooh, are we?
This is everyone. Oh, wait. Oh, everyone's back.
Yeah. Here we go. You're starting to move again.
Okay. That was weird. Everything became circles. Everyone started to buffer.
Eduardo's EMP.
It just took that long to get to you.
All effects started happening.
Yeah. So Marisol has the drone. It's like, yeah, I don't know if you know what's happening, but we've got a smog that we need you to look after.
So yes, I think like Reina was far enough away that like the EMP effect of Eduardo didn't really affect majority of her. And then with Marisol like holding one of the drones help protect that too, because since the first drones in the area are technically now connected with the smog, and she's trying to think. She's kind of in a protective mode right now with the whole like the hollow ghosts and what happened to Allie, and needing to find out with Allie and believing, well, the smog has something. Yeah, the smog. There's something wrong with this smog. I'm tired of this smog. Like me and the smog have been fighting for too long, even though all the previous times has been like, stupid little shit. Like I said, hacking the colors of the smog. And so yeah, I'm gonna use elemental magic. Is this what you needed? And I want to create from the nanosmog a VR headset to be able to access everything that the smog has captured.
Wow, that is such a good idea. That is so smart. Yeah, I like this very much. And then it would sort of like take, except for that part of the smog that's in Sulad, that's like Marisol's problem later.
Right.
But there's a lot of it anyway left behind, still here. So you can turn it into that. I like it. So choose one from. Is this what you needed? Let me quickly put it up. Choose. You were able to create it. Choose one. You create it perfectly, but it takes great time and effort, which kind of tricky now. Or you quickly create it, but someone notices. Or you create it, but it will violently break down soon.
Originally, I was going to go for violently break down soon, but I'd rather go with someone notices, since we have a whole bunch of bounty hunters on our ass.
Yeah.
Bounty hunter-like.
Yeah, I think that's also a good excuse for me to...
Especially since we're not in the underworld anymore and we're in the subways.
Yeah, very true. Okay.
I do have one question though. Like, if you, so you're trying to see all of the information that the smog has, and it takes memories. Would it have taken memories from Marisol and Ava because they were like in the smog for, especially during this like blast of holy light? That's kind of done some weird stuff.
That's a good question.
Probably inadvertently, like.
Yeah, because go ahead.
No, yeah, I think like because Reina did it so quickly and everything that to not give the smog time to react. So it's kind of like when you disengage a USB when you don't shut it off, and the 1 in 1,000 chance that you actually fuck up your USB, which I found out. That's kind of what happened.
1 in 1,000. Oh yeah, okay. I have a weak move for this actually because I know exactly what happens here.
Go ahead. What happens?
So like I think that USB disconnecting gave me. I think Ava is like on the ground, losing control of their shape because all of these new weird mutant animals that like just got shoved into their consciousness, like that was kind of the most recent animal. Well, they hadn't taken those forms yet, but now they're taking like all of those forms, and they just keep like glitching in and out from these different animals.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
3-headed cat type. Oh my gosh.
It's not just normal animals that are slightly bigger or slightly smaller than usual. No, it's like, yeah, weird, whatever the Corp did to these critters.
One cat meows, one cat licks, and one cat bites, but you never know which is which.
It sounds like a normal cat.
That sounds like a cat.
Yeah.
Now, for clarification, we managed to bring all the little gods from Sulad with us, correct?
They did lead you. Yes, but they did want to see the sunlight. So yes, they are nearby.
They're just in the sewers.
And then we have the god of in-between spaces that's still basically using my body.
Yeah, and that's why you've been like gray the whole time for sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just wanted to check on those things real quick.
And Utang is still like on your shoulders, just like going, "What is happening?"
Also, so Reina's in their human form and has this. It's very huge, kind of like Ready Player One size kind of VR headset, but on top of it is, oh my gosh, why can't I remember? I had it in my head. The things those of us old enough to remember that used to have, where it was like a wheel of like photos that you click.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those things.
Viewmaster.
Yeah. So it has something like that attached to it. that that was the only way for it to like, because obviously the smog has so many different information and memories that the only way it could process was like, yeah, so if you want to set these memories, you have to click it and then you can VR experience it.
Oh my gosh, I love this. It's so awesome. So creative. Um, very cool, very cool. Yeah, so I'd say that this, I'm just trying to keep track of the scene. Yeah, so this would successfully, part of the smog escaped to Sulad. Most of it has been reformed by our Duwende into something that can be super useful in the future. And Eduardo is unconscious. I think Celeste has doesn't want you drowning in the water, so Celeste has picked up Eduardo, but she's super cool. For some reason, the sewer water's not touching her awesome goth suit. She has she's just
Cyberpunk universe.
Strong lesbian energy. She's just invincible. And Ava is also with their Diwata, helping them out. Yeah, so I think what's left to establish what happened in the scene. So I'm looking at the Reckoning or Homecoming tab. I went ahead and marked twice towards captured. Like I said, the first one was when Marisol was tagged, and the second one was when the VR set was created. And just to clarify what happened with the rebirth homecoming thing. So now we officially have freed that Diwata, and they have joined the cause. So we'll get to that in a bit. But what happens in the Corp side? So it says here, when we mark towards capture, choose one. So we technically have two choices to make. We can choose the same one twice if we like. One of us pays a terrible price, a bond is sacrificed, a hope is shattered, or one of us is reshackled, they become an enslaved. This is a pretty intense choice, though, so we don't have to make it right now.
I have an idea for
Ooh,
one of us pays a terrible price.
I like how quickly Leandro jumped for that. Yes.
Sorry, Bethany, I jumped into that. Because I figured you're losing control of your shape at the moment. So
I was going to say I could volunteer to make that more permanent and say that I lose access to one of my forms of elemental magic.
Yeah. Option. Yeah.
The thing is, I've not established what happened to Marisol. So you've already taken a blow. So Marisol will take the other one. I think it's gonna be one of us pays a terrible price, and I think so. You know how the smog takes out memories. Normally Marisol isn't bothered by that because most of the memories she has are not hers. But I think the hope that's shattered is she hoped to reconnect to this human lover of hers. But I think, no, that hope is shattered because all those memories, which, it might not be that terrible price because there's two memories. But I think when she stands up and kind of she's into the daze because she talked to Reina, and Reina's here making all the fog is here. Yeah, her only two happy memories. The only two memories she knows that are hers. And not anyone else's. I think they're gone. They might be in the VR headset, maybe, but badly ruined.
But that would be probably at least 1,000 clicks before you could find it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
something as a part of your hope being shattered.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say that in this moment, Celeste starts to fall in love with Eduardo?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, then it's fine for the both of them. They just move on from each other. The only people who are sad are us, the players. I think maybe because she's also lost her memories. She knows she has heartbreak. Maybe she remembers.
Ooh. Okay. So is it the opposite where where Celeste starts to remember, seeing Marisol glowing in front of her, starts to remember these things, their past?
Yeah.
I would say in that moment there's there's a slow motion moment of the memory being pushed into the headset. There is a memory of Celeste willingly becoming an Aswang, and there is a line that says, if she has to die, then let me be the one to kill her.
Yeah, is it like yeah, it's shot in the way like kind of how I described the second memory that we found last session, which is kind of like it's a far away shot, and the dialogue for some reason is like in an interstitial like a silent film text. Yeah.
Though I
He-
want
yeah,
to be clear that, you know, she's still an ally, but that's definitely like a dark thing that's hanging
secret. Yeah.
over everything.
Yeah, maybe she remembers that for sure. But I don't know Marisol will figure it out because as far as Marisol is concerned, she stands up and kind of sees like, okay, we got through that. Oh hey, there's that person that joined us earlier today. Jeez, that all happened this today? And I think Marisol will like gently like put the Reina drone down and kind of like go up and Celeste is carrying like Eduardo. Um and Marisol's just like, is he okay?
Towards Eduardo, you mean? Yeah.
Well,
Celeste,
she asks this.
yeah. Celeste looks at you, and she sort of blinks, and she's blinking back tears because she's suddenly confronted with that memory, and suddenly confronted with how much she had cared for you and still cares for you, and she clears her throat. Yeah, he seems fine. And so Utang kind of like yeah, but I don't know if anyone else sees Utang, but Utang is like sort of patting Eduardo on the shoulder, singing a lullaby. La la la, go to sleep. Stay sweet dreams.
I think like Marisol, well, like Eduardo's unconscious, but like also kind of like, oh, like no. She nearly reached up to like pat him as well, but then she kind of like remembers what she saw, which is like young him, and he wasn't kind to her back in the day, so it's kind of retracts back into see it. And Marisol's like, I'm glad he's okay. He does his best, you know. I'm sure you've got you're the you're the one who joined us today, right?
Yeah. I'm Celeste, she says, smiling sadly.
And I think Marisol actually like smiles, not sadly, and she says, "Well, nice to meet you. I'm Marisol. Uh, if you need me, I'm the one moping in a corner. Hopefully you don't need me that much. 'Cause, well, all I do apparently, well, if you ask Eduardo, all I do is just make people sad. But it's just kind of, you know, it's what I do."
And she sort of nods. Like, so in this moment, I kind of want to also zoom in on Reina for a bit as this is, but we'll come back to this only because, oh no, sorry, not Reina. I remember, I just want to clarify that Eva wanted to make the choice to, because we still have a second choice to make for marking towards capture. Do you want to weaken that ability?
Yeah, I think it's like, I think it fits. You know, I like in immediate aftermath of the smog, Ava is just like constantly shifting shape and has no has no form that lasts more than a few seconds and has like just no control at all. And I think like maybe that, you know, they gradually regained some control over it, but I think the only animals they can shift into are those like mutant animals created by the Corp.
Nice. Yeah. So for now, I've like marked it, but I do like the idea of you being able to like shift only into those. So that's very, very cool. That could easily be lose control of your shape abilities, weak move every time you want to. Like, it has to be something the Corp created. That's really
pretty much
badass.
Yeah. I'll just say I change shape, and you can tell me what I shift into.
Yeah, I like it. Let's do it. Okay, but yeah, I just wanted to clarify that first. So like while this conversation is happening, Ava's like in the background going like, "What's happening?" I like how Ava's in the background. Like at first, there's a tiger destroying these guardians, and now like, what? What's happening? So But Celeste smiles at you and says, so I hear that you're trying to start a revolution, that you're going to save the city. Is that true?
Well, and she turns around and sees probably Ava looks probably fine from her perspective. Um, her friend, what's her name, Sylvia, is like unconscious but fine. We managed to save her. Reina is being cool and just creating this. She's doing weird stuff with that smog. It's like okay, that's her thing. She's moving stuff and yeah, all this was done because of Eduardo. And Marcel turns back and says like, if you asked me that earlier today, I thought that I would have probably poo-pooed and said that was the silliest thing, but I don't know. That's we might have a shot.
Yeah, maybe, she says. I think you're stronger than you look. I have a good feeling about you, she says.
Well, I'll try not to disabuse you of that notion in the next couple of days. Um, and I think like actually I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. If Sarah says anything else, I don't know if Marisol has anything else to say.
Sorry, I'm laughing at what Bethany wrote in the chat. Sorry. So I'm just gonna read it out loud for the recording. She's so used to being the one she just assumes everyone else is okay. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, from her perspective, everyone came together to save the day tonight. And like honestly, all she did was kind of like just connect everyone together. Like it's Ava who saved Sylvia. There's Earth Diwata. It was Eduardo who pacified, who made rendered the smog inert. It was Reina who's doing cool stuff with it. All Marisol did was open a door, so to speak. So yeah, she thinks everyone is cool here.
If she's
That's
okay,
part of
clearly everyone else must be ecstatic because like all of Marisol's experiences so far is like she has the worst time. Everyone else is doing better. So Eduardo's unconscious, but like clearly he's okay because Marisol is okay.
yeah, like most of the time she does feel bad, but I think here because her saddest memories, aka the only ones she had of herself, are gone now, so she is less sad.
Oh, good point. Good point. Okay, so I think this is a good time to take another break before we. I don't want to jinx it. I feel like we can end a little ahead of time because we jumped right into gaming. But I'm not going to jinx it. I'm not going to say anything more on the matter. But let's just take a 10-minute break first before we get back into it. Is everyone cool with that? So give yourselves time to think about where we'd like to go. If we also want to just end the session on this high note, that's also fine. But let's just take a 10-minute break first to recollect. All right, so I'll see you in 10 minutes. Sorry it took a while. Slight cat emergency. How's everybody?
I see Ava turned into a cat. Briefly.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so how do we feel? Because we just had this really awesome scene. I was thinking this is a good point for the Corp to have its presence really felt. But I'm also okay with us like going into winding down for the session. So what's everyone up for?
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, winding down and maybe cliffhanger be the core coming in, because I think maybe we'll need like maybe a couple of scenes for everyone to breathe.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Yeah, because in our last game with Leandro, we just kept going into like scene after scene. It was so intense. How does everybody else feel?
Yeah, I'm good with the cliffhanger being the Corp showing up then, because Rada's still confused about everything, especially the fact that Allie is gone, and Human did a backwards aging thing, and now I have this VR system. I don't know why, but I have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So shall we cut back to sorry, I got so confused by the cat behind Bethany's head. I was like, what is that shadow? I was like really distracted. Oh, sorry. I have cat vision. So shall we cut back to the refuge? Does that make sense for everybody? Or
Yeah.
Is there a second refuge we want to visit? Like a second hideout?
I wonder if maybe there is one closer.
Like secret garden of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, one of those gardens.
Yeah, sure. So you make your way there, avoiding the mazes of light and sound that are segregating different areas. There's a part of the maze that has eroded that is a way for you to get through, because one of the apartments you're going to get through is definitely a place the Corp doesn't want anyone to be able to have access to. This particular apartment building, it's kind of starting to like sag to one side, just very slightly. But there's just this tumble, like on the upper floors, this tumble of greenery and vines. There are a few petals on the ground as you make your way towards it. Celeste looks super badass, just holding Eduardo effortlessly behind you guys. And I assume Ava is helping their Diwata friend. Like, it's up to you if the Diwata's passed out, or maybe they're like holding on to you.
I think they're kind of leaning on each other at this point, because Ava is like,
that's right.
one moment we're trying to walk on 2 feet, then trying to walk on 4. And then...
That's a really good point. And your shifts, yeah. So both of you are like leaning on each other to make your way. Yeah, wow, you went through a lot. And Marisol and I assume Reina is just like, wow, what is this thing? Like, just trying to make sense of this amazing. It's almost as if it created itself, right? And Reina was just a vessel for the creation. So it's very exciting.
I keep thinking like, wow, Allie would love to see this. Like, this looks very ancient tech. And then be like, wait a minute, where is Allie? That's right. Wait, what happened? And
yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And then so you make your way through the apartments. There are the robot gardeners who are taking care of everything. I feel like they have the same aesthetic from Batteries Not Included, like that kind of feel. With the cute eyes and stuff like that. So so they're helping out. I love Short Circuit, so let's have a Johnny 5 looking. Actually, he was like my second crush. My first crush was Optimus Prime, and then my second was Johnny 5. I was convinced I was going to marry either of them when I grew up. So
Johnny 5 is alive.
This is proof that Jamie was sexual since they were young. So anyway.
Optimus Prime is sensible because like he can drive you anywhere.
Right? Like, I could store stuff in the container. Anyway, it was just like, it's very practical. So there's like a robot. It's made out of different parts. It's on that sort of like treadmill situation. and helping with things. It has those like flappy eyes that look at you and focus. Like it's made out of all these like scrap parts. And as you go past it, it's playing really ancient music all the way from the ancient time of Earth, 1980s, like way back then, just hundreds and hundreds of years ago, which is what classical music sounds to us like now, I guess. And as you make your way to the garden, you can tell like parts of the walls have crumbled down, but the robots have done their best. Like there's no broken glass anywhere. Everything is as neat as possible. Whatever vandalism was here, the robots have painted over to make it look like murals instead. They've written in their own language, which all of you can understand. All of you understand binary machine language quite well. And you can tell the robots have been trying to write their own versions of epic stories of just little things that they've seen. Today, the flower grew despite the smog of the area. Today, the seed was planted. Like all these little stories that are epic to the robots. And then, so you go to your special area. There's a special area that's been set aside for you. What does it look like? Like, what does this area look like? How does it reflect your personalities or something like that? Let's start with, I feel like I want to start with Reina because they're the most like not screwed up right now by that.
You don't know. Reina could be.
That's true.
I think at this particular garden, it's Reina got kind of addicted to topiary, so it's a lot of like weird bush shapes. I think like originally there were like she would ask Ava to shapeshift into an animal and then like try to do their copy of it on these bushes and everything. So, but also connected to the bushes is very old school like Christmas lights, like scattered throughout, and then randomly like it'd be replaced, like the light bulbs were replaced with something that shouldn't be a light bulb but gets jammed in and then just works seemingly. Like so there's a part of like a what do you even call it? Words today. Like part of like a sign from the exit, but it's just the X, and that got like plugged in. So like there's an X like hovering over this weirdly shaped flamingo bush. And I think also in the corner there's like a couple of like makeshift like student desks, because once in a while maybe like with some of the students that for this particular like hideout is the ones that she really trusts of engineers and artists, so that would be an area for them to like study. And I think also there's like a pile of like what Allie thought was, this is ancient alien technology, but it was clearly not. And so it was like just a pile of like junk now, because I dissuaded Allie. It's like, no, this is nothing. Don't worry. Yeah, this was just a prototype.
Yeah. And so it's just there in the side. I also kind of like the idea of like how some of the robots have fallen in love with the topiaries and the leaves, and they sort of decorated themselves with it, the smaller robots.
Yes.
So they're like little bushes going around going, oh, hi, Reina. Hello, ho, ho. In that kind of voice. But we need watering today. Like it's their way of saying they need a little tune-up or to be taken care of.
Yeah, and Reina would definitely be like a little just more distracted than normal because still staring at this virtual headset. I was like, yes, I'll get to you shortly. Thank you.
Okay, and then how about for Marisol? Like, what part of this, the second hideout, really belongs to Marisol, or is a reflection of Marisol?
Yeah, I think there is like a wall in the corner that normally when she's not there is kind of like it's kind of like covered up like with like a curtain covering. But when you open it up, it doesn't go out to a window, but instead this wall is like covered in paper clippings. Most of it is just like well, kinda, yeah, I guess. Sir Dana posing chat to the brooding wall. I guess kind of is. It's like up for a lot of newspaper clippings, which are like rare, obviously, because like nobody paper. Who does that these days? So it is a lot of like, and it's usually like innocuous, nice stories, like squirrel learns to water ski or something like that, or hey, here's the latest dog charity like winnings. Here's how much the dogs made this year. Small silly stuff. I'm remembering the stuff I mostly wrote when I was freelancing for some tabloids. Like, yeah, oh yeah, we rescued some dogs. Hell yeah. Or hey, here's a viral video of a of this girl who was in Australia but came back to Ireland to surprise her mom. There's small little stories like that, and also like different like gigs and like band stuff, like really old artifacts. And there's some new stuff as well that like her friend Vicky, who is like the virtual pop singer, um stuff that she's printed out at great cost. It's really expensive to print out paper. Yes, fuck it. Old woman makes marionette of self to feed squirrels, which is I was gonna say cute, but then I had a second thought. Yeah, it's in a gray area, but yeah, it's like, and I think oh my god, of course it did happen. So yeah, there are some posters of her friend Vicky's, like the virtual singer she made up, named V, who is like very popular. So there's some posters of that, and I think when when they walk in, Marisol like heads to like the wall, pulls it up, and just kind of like there's probably a robot waiting there with already some tape or something, and she pulls in her pocket, pulls out like a crumpled like band flyer that she found in some of the old apartments for a band called Lone Shark, except the lone is spelled Lone, and it's one word. And it's a drawing of a shark, of a realistic shark trying to play a guitar, swimming in money because it's a loan shark, but it's all alone. All that is explained in the text of the poster as well, which just amuses Marisol quite a bit. Yeah, that's what the first thing she does. She just starts taping that up. It's just the most recent thing she found, and it's now part of the wall.
And the robot's like, here, more tape for the offerings.
Dope. I wish you'd stop calling that. They're just things I like. Okay.
This is obviously a shrine to your loneliness. We must accept it as such.
All right, I'm gonna have to talk to her right now. These robots cannot be giving me any lip. This is
Do you even have any friends? As it starts like dispensing more tape. It's a very shady robot.
Why is the one with the tape the shady one? What? I think that's what she thinks. She doesn't say that out loud. She just kind of like just takes the tape and
it makes this ripping sound from the tape, like shook. The truth hurts, doesn't it? But yeah, so how about so our two more like I know Eduardo's like out cold, but what part of the refuge reflects our saint?
There's a corner of it that it seems wild, overgrown, not really tended to. And then as you kind of squeeze through what looks like a little hole in the shrubs, you enter this. Well, it doesn't seem like it's manicured, but it just seems like it seems like it's cared for, but not necessarily with clippers or shears or any kind of gardening implements. And there's light that shines in from above. There's branches that grow overhead, leaves that kind of block out the sun so it dapples through. It's just very calm and quiet in there.
Yeah, and as Celeste lays you down in a comfortable area, we can see that there's still remnants of the power that you use down in the sewer. So there are these like digital versions of these pure white feathers that keep falling before disappearing when they touch the ground. And she carefully lays you down, and she turns to look at Marisol, and she asks, is he going to be, how long does he usually stay asleep?
Depends, I guess. But this always happens. It's miracles, they take they take quite a bit. I mean, I tell him to stop. It doesn't look like it's fun to always be knocked out, but well, it helps. I don't know if you can stop him. I don't know if you can tell him to stop helping everyone. It's a bit annoying, honestly.
And Celeste says, I wonder what it's like to be able to help someone without hurting them, before she goes off to make sure. Because I think she's also concerned about our poor Diwata and Ava, who are like leaning against each other. What part of this apartment, of this refuge, reflects Ava's touch?
So there's another area that is also wild, like, but actually just wild. There's no it's not particularly calming. There's not like a nice area under the leaves. It's denser. It's like Ava deliberately asked the robots, no, don't trim it at all. Like, no, don't even trim it so that it looks like it hasn't been trimmed. Like just can you just let that little bit grow?
Just absolutely be. Yeah. So it's like really grown through the floorboards. It's wrapped around things. It's really wild. And
it's got a lot of little hiding places, but there's nowhere you can't stand up anywhere.
Because it's just like full of everything.
It's just like there's no nice, open space and then a canopy. It's just like all dense shrubs.
Yeah, and from the foliage, there's this little robot that's been put together. It kind of looks like that time when they tried to make dogs, like what do they call them, like eyebrows? Yeah. It kind of looks like that, like check, like comes over, and its ears go as it looks at you, confused about what's happening. And so our Earth Diwata, you notice that when the Earth Diwata walks into the apartment, the leaves just really take on a more brilliant shade of green. The air starts to become more vibrant and humid. Like everything just takes on a brighter color. Their very presence is really affecting all of the foliage around them. And so they sort of like wave their hand around. They're not trying to make the place unwild, but they're at least trying to find space for you in the density.
I think so that's the problem. Is like normally this is a place to hide. So this is a place to hide as like a small or medium-sized animal, not a human walking upright. And like, but I think constantly changing shape. Who knows what?
You try to become small, and instead you become part octopus, part ego. It just everything keeps flickering and shifting.
I think I both have this very strong urge to go hide somewhere and like wait for whatever the hell is happening to me to stop happening, and also the urge to like talk to and check on this on Sylvia, who like I haven't seen. Last time I saw her, she was being sucked into the mainframe, and then I saw a vision of her angry and hunting me. But also I just kind of want to hide somewhere and work.
Yeah, absolutely. And that as that starts to happen, as you start to remember that what it looked like, you can feel the heart of the city reaching out to you. Like it's pushing past, it's trying to connect to you. Are you going to allow the heart of the city, knowing that this could be kind of it's not always safe when the heart of the city reaches out, but you let it connect to you.
I think at first I'm like, oh no, not another thing what the hell? It's not going to make anything worse.
You could take a token to.
Yeah, I'm wondering if given to the fading and feel mortal is about the right thing here.
Yeah, I would say because things are really difficult.
I have no control over everything, and that's weird because I mean, yeah, I deal with things that are hard to control, but this is a whole nother level of not being in control.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and take that token. So you can feel the heart of the city reaches out to you, that sense of the heartbeat coming through. Like it almost feels like it's touching the leaves. The leaves vibrate in time with the heartbeat, with the heart of the city. And you can feel it communicating to you, showing you the images, speaking in emotions, but it's translating to, it's still, there's a part of her that she's had to hurt in order to not want to hurt you. She may not have enough time. She's hiding it from you. You can't let her sacrifice herself.
Yeah, I think I just kind of reach out and grab her hand. Like I'm still listening to see if there's anything else before I start talking or anything, but still like, okay, don't go anywhere while I'm listening here.
Yeah, absolutely. And they show you an image of her hunting you down with the other Diwata. But then you see that she runs into Ali, like she smashes into Reina's friend. And Ali says, "Oh, an elemental! Amazing! We could do something. I could help you. I could totally help you." And it is just flashes of Ali just absolutely getting up into the poor Dawada's business. Like, but you can see like it's really just, it's incomprehensible flashes at this point. But something went wrong because Ali is very smart. Ali is extremely intelligent, but they're not an elemental. They were dealing with things they didn't understand, and there was things backfired in some way. But Sylvia tried to make sure that Ali didn't get the worst of it. But then the magic just like went haywire, and that's what started to de-age Ali in a way. But Ali was like, "Wow, this is fascinating! How exciting! This is fantastic! I have to take notes." And Ali recorded the entire thing, so that information is out there somewhere. And but you can see that whatever it was that Ali did, it was enough to reboot some of Sylvia's systems. But in doing so, it set off this timer. Like it just started up. There was something in the programming. The Corp has a failsafe that if one of their agents, if one of their hunters, if one of their sleeper agents removes this aspect, tries to unshackle themselves in this way, once again, because Ali didn't do too good a job, even though Ali did their best, is that it starts depleting their magic rapidly, like forcing them into the fading faster. And Sylvia was just trying to use that time left to get to you.
Yeah. I think I think I'm shifting less often. I think it's slowing down, if only because it takes effort and I'm getting tired. But so it's like, I think, like I reach out my hand and it's not a hand anymore. And it's, now a paw and then it's a tentacle. And finally I just like curl my body around her. And I ask like, did you know what was happening? And, explain what I saw.
And she looks a bit surprised. Like she didn't, and you can tell she didn't fully understand, but she was like, I had a feeling, but I don't know. I don't think there's anything we can do. I just I just knew I had to try to find you. I just knew I had to try to stop the others. I'm sorry I wasn't strong like you, Ava. You've always been stronger than me.
No. You got away by yourself. It took a lot of, well, it took a bunch of us, and then, well, you know, not, but no, it's strong is not an issue here. You're not, I think we're gonna have, we'll find some way to stop this.
She nods. You can tell she doesn't. You can tell that she doesn't believe you, but she's not going to argue the point.
As would be understandable from someone who can't even stop themselves from.
Yeah, absolutely. So at this point, I think as things start to feel safe, feel like that you have time to recover, that's when you start hearing this siren out in the distance, and the maze of light and sound in the distance starts to take on this crimson, bright red, flashing color. And you can feel like out on every broadcast, on all the screens that come up all around the city, there are flashes of what happened in the sewer that are being projected all across with clear images of your faces. And you know that it means that the Corp is zoning in on you. It just flickers back and forth between images of what you did in the sewer and then images too. You know, it's like XCOM, like that dude who's like just a silhouette, like blah, 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 like that kind of voice, kind of like, what's that other movie? Like V for Vendetta, like that kind of energy, this suit, old person in the shadows, just talking, and says, the elementals are dangerous. We must remind all citizens in the city to not engage with them. But then he also contradicts himself in the next sentence where he says, there is a reward for anyone who brings us information, who brings us anything that can help capture these dangerous criminals who are a threat to our safety and to the city's success. They're here to destroy us all. This is an example of how the elementals are a dying race that can no longer be trusted. We must set precedents. We must make an example of them. And in the distance, you can hear the helicopters. But you know, it's a cyberpunk future, so they're like cyber helicopters, right? Moving in.
But they sound like helicopters just to sound more intimidating.
Yeah, right? Like they don't need to. But that sound is much better. And they start coming through. And you can see all the robots in the area. Like they all turn to the side and they're like, their eyes start flashing red. Proximity alert, proximity alert, proximity alert. And then there's this sound of like an earthquake almost down below. And you can hear the fire and the water rushing in the lower floors of the building. And you know the other Diwata have found you and are coming close. And I think that's where we're going to end our session. Is that cool with everybody? We're going to leave it on this cliffhanger. Right. Puckett, how are we feeling about it?
Ooh. Sorry. Fine by me.
Okay. Cool.
I couldn't get the mute button.
No worries. It's good. Okay. So I'm going to end the recording here, and then we'll have like a offline. We're going to, not offline, but like off the recording. We're going to go into debrief. So so thank you for everybody who's watching. That was our third session of BALIKBAYAN, and we'll see you for the fourth session next time. So thank you, everybody.